You're listening to the Valley Labor Report with David Story and Jacob Morrison.
So we've got a caller on the line. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
You can call me Jay.
Jay?
Jay. Yeah, I'm calling from Arizona.
Oh, Jay from Arizona. Thanks. And so what you got on your mind?
So Arizona's a right-to-work state and all that, and like pretty much my whole life, I've never known anyone that's been in a union or been in a union myself, obviously. And so one of the things that, I mean, it's like every place I've worked in, it's every time the conversations come up about unions and all that stuff, it's like everyone just like automatically goes to like all the anti-union talking points that you hear, like the conservative news and talk radio and all that stuff. So it's like, I've only ever had experience with like explicitly anti-union, coworkers.
Yeah.
And I just want to ask you guys, have you ever experienced something like that when you guys try to organize, just like people who are like really anti-union or anything like that?
Absolutely. I mean, you got to remember we're in Alabama. We're in a right to work state as well, at will employment, and I mean that's typically, that's for certain. That's what you're going to come up against consistently, especially in areas where, and I don't know the type of work that you do, but especially in areas that may not have been traditionally unionized, and it sounds like you're coming out of one of those areas. But one of the biggest, talking to people, one of the biggest mistakes that everybody makes is not reaching out to a true union organizer early in the game. If you even, and that's what we constantly preach here, if you even are considering it, the best thing to do is reach out to the union organizer. Find one. I promise you, there's a whole lot out there. They're not as public as what they should be, and that's kind of the reason we're doing this show, was to make it more public and to give people that opportunity to reach out. But they have some real good talking points of what to do, what not to do, and the biggest thing that you'll find with a union, a true union organizer, is they will put you on a path that will keep you from coming under a fire at work, and that's their biggest concern, is to ensure that this is that when you start talking about unions, it's done safely and carefully,
right? And
everyone's taken care of from termination or from retribution with the boss, because there are some laws once you begin talking to a union organizer that come into play at the federal level that allows you to talk about the union in certain places and protects your job, to where there are numerous times we've seen people that get terminated and we're able to get their jobs back with back pay. So that and understanding all those dynamics is real important.
Yeah, and I think, one of the things to touch on, you were asking, like, how do you actually interface with people that are anti-union? And I think that kind of depends on your relationship to them and how virulently anti-union they are. Like, if they're just being
what if?
I mean, I don't know. That can be legitimate, but if they're just being like vitriolic and toxic, and you don't have an existing relationship with them, and they're just like purposely trying to be difficult, there's not a lot you can do with that kind of person. And I try to organize around them as best you can, and maybe one day they'll come around, but it's not going to be you convincing them. But for folks that are, so David and I have been making calls for RWDSU into the Amazon warehouse down in Bessemer, and I've had a lot of calls now with people that are not, they're not being hateful or mean. Like you said, they just don't know much about unions, and they've got questions, and they're hearing, especially down at Amazon, they're hearing all this anti-union propaganda, and they reckon it's true because it's coming from the people that sign their paychecks. And so, why would they lie to me? I mean, they just don't know. And so I'm having these conversations with me. They're throwing these anti-union talking points at me, not maliciously, but they're just like, Why this? Why that? And so you got to kind of step them down, like off the ladder, be calm and patient. You know, you're going to hear things that really rile you up because you know it's complete hogwash, but you got to step them down off the ladder and talk them through the way that it actually works. And it can be and you know, talk to them about the democratic aspect of it. You know, like there's nobody from up on high is gonna like tell you what to do. Ultimately, you're gonna be the people electing folks from the shop floor to negotiate your contract. We're gonna clip this the first 30 minutes of the show and we're gonna throw it out there. Send that to them. You know, show them like what actually happens when a contract is negotiated. Tell them that you know that they get to decide on those things. Talk to them about how, don't you reckon you deserve some amount of security with a union contract? You know that the next day you go into work, those are the conditions of your employment. If you don't have a union contract, then from day to day, the boss can change at any time the conditions of your employment. There's no security there. Talk to them about that. Talk to them about, don't they reckon that there are things that can be better? Say that, you know, don't you think that you deserve a voice on the job? You know how to do your job. Everybody has had management tell them things that are just stupid, that don't make any sense to somebody that actually has done the job and knows the work. And so don't you think that you should get some amount of say over what you do? And so, you know, if you walk people down, talk them back from the ledge, and talk to them like they're people, like they're humans, you know, there's a lot of headway that can be made there. And David is proof positive of that. You know, I mean, he works in a He works in a machine shop where, you know, most of the folks, they're like, you know, Gen X, boomer, you know, white guys, right? And these are conservative folks that are still going to go and vote Republican, but like he's got a 93% union density rate in his shop. And that doesn't happen because he talks down to people or other union members talk down to folks that have different political opinions than them. It's because they level with them as people and they work together. And some of the, you know, some of the most conservative people in his shop are like some of the most pro-union folks. So it can be done and take courage. It takes time, but, you know, and definitely reach out to union organizers in your area.
Yeah, and follow us on social media because we just put on an organizing what was it, 4 weeks? It's supposed to be like 2 days, but it was spread out over 4 weeks.
Yeah, so the Huntsville, the IWW chapters in your area. I think there's an IWW chapter in Arizona. They do organizer training 101s about how to organize, and they're doing it virtually now. Chicago DSA actually has an organizer training that I just signed up for with Jane McAlevey. Look them up. Look up Chicago DSA on Twitter. See if you can find that. Jane has some really good books on organizing. She was an organizer with SEIU. She was really successful. Definitely look her up and look up that organizer training if you want to maybe learn more about, go more in depth into how to have these conversations.
Yeah. And lastly, if you do reach out to a union organizer, because here's the thing, is we're never going to make this sound like it's all, you know, peaches and cream or whatever you want to call it. If you reach out to a union organizer and he or she tells you, I got this, you know, I'll handle it from here type mentality.
Go to another union.
Tell them to go, run.
Yeah.
Because there are some terrible union organizers out there that just want numbers and they're going to do, you know, they're going to run the game themselves. And they think that they're the only ones with the knowledge that knows how to do it. And we are both of the opinion, and I'll speak for Jacob because we've talked about this in depth. We are both of the opinion that union organizing should be rank and file. In other words, it should be worker driven, not union driven, because the only people that know the working conditions in those plants or the factories or any job site is the workers.
Yeah.
So yeah, reach out to some good ones, and if you don't, hit us up on social media, and we'll put you in touch with somebody over there that can help because we got good contacts everywhere.
Oh, cool. Actually, yeah, I just thought of something else too. If it's all right, if I can ask another question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, do you think it would be worth it for someone like me to join the IWW? Because like right now where I work, it kind of feels like I'm the only one who's even like curious about being in the union.
Joining the IWW would be a great start.
Yeah,
because they accept people. You don't have to have a union per se in your facility to join the IWW, and doing that puts you in touch with people in your area that are members, and you start building those relationships. And it also gives you access to a lot of organizing information. I mean, and I can tell you in the wobbly world, if you ask a question, I can promise you people will come out of the woodworks to help you. They're dedicated unionists.
Yeah, and if you email, and one of the good, and you don't even have to be a member to have some of those questions answered, but the organizing department internationally has some really good folks that we know that we've had on the show. Max Baru,
excellent.
We've had him on the show before. You can go back and watch our interview there. He may even answer your question if you email organize@iww.org. About organizing, and you know, maybe there aren't many Wobblies in your area. Maybe you could start a branch, or maybe
there was only us when we started 2 years ago.
Yeah, and maybe, you know, that they could help you organize your shop, or maybe, you know, you want to organize with a different union. You know, I recommend seeing the other unions in your area that organize in your industry, and talking and having conversations with them as well as the IWW, because, you know, David and I are both dual carders. We're not like wobbly supremacists or anything like that. We we just want folks to join the labor movement, and we want folks to have better lives and have more control on the job and more control in their community. And whatever union you reckon kind of fits better with you, then that's where you should go.
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds very good. Thank you guys for everything you do. Big fan. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah.
Go to thevalleylaborreport.org and get yourself a hat. We have got new hats now. New hats from a new vendor. I like them better personally. There's a few reasons. For one, the biggest reason, we've got the Union Bug right here. If you're watching on the stream, we've got the Union Bug right there on the front of the hat, right beside our logo.
Let me see that.
Let you see the hat. It's really, really nice. I like it a lot. David's showing it off, making me expose my hat head to the world.
Your hair looks wonderful.
It's great. You do not, contrary to the pictures that David tweeted out, you do not have to wear it as a flat bill. I don't know what has gotten into him, but
you can if you want to go.
If you want to look absurd.
I thought that was a thing.
Yeah, I told David when he tweeted that picture out, I was like, man, I haven't worn a flat bill since I was like 12.
Dude, I see maybe it's because I'm like listen to a lot of rap, but
maybe I don't know.
I see everybody in the scene wearing these.
I don't know. I look absurd when I wear a flat bill. So
well, I think everybody does, but regardless, I never wore them when they were, you know, in style. So I thought it was absurd then. But
yeah, and you know, like the structure of the hat, we had a smaller run with another shop a while back. And we did switch vendors. The structure of this hat is just better. I think it's a different material, and I like it better. It's in my opinion, it's a better hat. And you can go to our website, thevalleylaborreport.org, snag you one of them. They are $35 with shipping, so that's $35, and that's it. We'll ship it to you wherever you are. It's great. I love it. I am very, very happy with the hat, and so you should snag one while you can. So thanks for tuning in, folks. Here's an announcement right at the top. The North Alabama DSA is holding a necessities drive every Saturday. Every Saturday, that means this Saturday too, from 3 to 5 p.m. at the IBEW Local 558 Union Hall on Clinton Avenue here in Huntsville, right across from Yellowhammer and Campus 805. So if you're in the area, you want to drop off some clothes, some non-perishable food items, blankets, then swing by the IBEW Union Hall, right across from Yellowhammer and Campus 805 from 3 to 5 p.m. this Saturday and every Saturday. All donations will be forwarded to the Manor House. Follow at DSA North Alabama on Twitter for more information. If you want to see what we're up to throughout the week, get our snide quips about the news of the day, then you should follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/The Valley Labor Report. We're on Twitter at Labor Reporters. I'm on Twitter at JacobM_AL. David is on Twitter at Radical Unionist. That's spelled RADICL Unionist. If you missed part of the show and want to go back and watch it later, you can search YouTube for The Valley Labor Report and subscribe to our channel. You can go back and watch the full show there, and we also clip segments throughout and release those throughout the week. So if there's one thing that you might be interested in, you can go back and see all the topics that we've talked about in the past. We also upload the program on more than 11 different podcasting apps. So to see if we are on your listening platform of choice, go to thevalleylaborreport.transistor.fm/subscribe. We do now have a website, thevalleylaborreport.org. Going to talk more about that in just a second. And finally, if you appreciate our work and want to help us stay on the air, consider throwing us a couple dollars a month on patreon.com/thevalleylaborreport.